given that it's a rather chilly early December camp here on Dartmoor, I thought that it would be a very good idea to give you some tips on how to keep warm. So this is Tony's top tips. Okay, well, the first tip is I would recommend against taking a hot water bottle. I know some people, recommend them, and yes, probably they give a comfort value to some people, especially newbies, but I would strongly recommend against taking a hot water bottle. There's a few disadvantages. The one advantage is the comfort value. Obviously instant warmth if you whack it between your legs. The blood vessels, of course, are going to be flowing through your arteries and everything like that in your thighs, and of course that will help warm the blood circulating around your body. Or you could put them down by your feet, that's instant feet warmth, but probably less warmth circulating around your body if you were to put it down by your feet. I will say I'm not a hot water bottle expert, so I can't say exactly what the blood is doing or where the blood is going. The disadvantages are it could leak, and I'm sure we've all had a hot water bottle leak, and that probably is one of the biggest disadvantages. If in the unlikely event that that hot water bottle leaked and you have got a major problem in camp, to the point of where you will probably have to abandon camp because your sleeping stuff might very well be too wet to use. The other big disadvantage, I have to say, is that of course as your hot water bottle gets cold, you're going to cool off. So if you've brought a sleep system or something like that, expecting the hot water bottle to keep you warm through the night, well, you're going to wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with your hot water bottle quite cold or a lot cooler, and you're shivering, in which case you then got to get out and boil a lot more water to go into that hot water bottle to try and warm you back up again. So I can really see no real benefits to a hot water bottle. So I would suggest that you leave your hot water bottle at home. The second tip is get a lightweight, and they're super light. I mean, this is an MLD quilt or bag liner. I'm not saying that you have to get one of these. I don't know if MLD still sells them or not even, but I do strongly recommend that you get a bag liner of some description. Just get the lightest, thinnest one that you can, and when you start to feel a little bit cool in your sleeping bag, you can just slip this into the sleeping bag, get into it, and they probably have a little toggle wrapped around the top like a bungee cord type of thing, and you can just pull this up around your midriff or even over your shoulders, snug it around your neck, and that will of course help keep you warm. It just adds another degree or two to your sleeping bag. The next tip is to make sure that you get a sleeping bag which is as a minimum 10 degrees warmer rated or colder rated, whichever way you look at it, than you are expecting to go to. I say a minimum of 10. Some of you might find that the actual rating is enough. Some of you might find that -5 or a 5 degree centigrade is enough. From my experience, I need a minimum of -10. In the coldest of cold weather, I would even go so far as to say if the weather was looking -5, -6, -7, I would be taking my -21 bag. So I'd be looking at something that was over 10 degrees centigrade cooler than I'm looking at, and I would expect to be cool in that. So because I'm a freezing cold sleeper. So take a sleeping bag as a minimum 10 degrees colder than you are expecting. That's the comfort rating, not the survival rating, because if you take your survival rating, that temperature, you'll freeze. The comfort rating, that would be if you're using that type of system. The next tip is, before you go to bed, make sure that you have a really good pee. Squeeze out as much pee as you possibly can, because I have heard, and I don't have any specific evidence of this, but I have heard that if you have a full bladder, this can actually cool you down, because you've got a lot of liquid in there, and that liquid is drawing warmth away from your body, or all the warmth is in the pee, and you need your warmth around your body, not in your pee. So if you need a pee in the night, get on and do it. I think that's about 3 useful tips. I've actually come up with 3 useful tips. The next thing is, make sure that you have an airbed that is plenty warm enough, you know, for what you'll be doing. So I use a Thermarest XTherm, but it's super lightweight, incredibly warm, and really is just, you know, highly recommended. And again, I've got no affiliations with them, you know, whatsoever. They just make superb mats. But don't get an airbed which has air pockets that touch from bottom to top, because cold air will just go straight through. So you need to get a sleeping mat with a high R rating. I'm not going to go technical stuff here. There's plenty of videos on that and other experts out there that will talk to you about mats. But get a mat with an R rating that is, you know, quite high. And make sure that you take a foam mat with you as well, something like a XLite foam mat, or just any foam mat will do, to put under your airbed. It offers puncture protection, and of course, more importantly, it will boost the warmth of your airbed. Plus, if you have a puncture in your airbed, then you have some redundancy from that foam mat. The XLite or something like that is worth, you know, looking at. Cheers everybody. If you're finding this video helpful, or even enjoyable preferably, then just check the links below, especially the subscribe and like button. Now let's carry on. The next tip that I would suggest, and it's quite simple, when it's winter and wet, things can get wet quite quickly, unfortunately. So take extra gloves. Avoid gloves that have liners built into them, because when they get wet, 1, they'll be an absolute pig to dry out, and 2, they can actually be quite dangerous, because you put your fingers into those gloves with liners built into them, you pull your wet fingers out, and the liners more often than not will come out with your fingers, and then your glove is even more useless, because you won't get the liners back into your pinky places properly. So avoid liner gloves like the plague, because if that gets wet, because of the liner in it, it's realistically not going to dry out while you're camping. So because if that gets wet, because of the liner in it, it's realistically not going to dry out while you're camping. So I like Windpro fleece, a liner glove, and a waterproof mitt over the top. And there will be plenty of other options out there. You're better getting a glove that has, getting independent gloves with a waterproof over mitt, and then you can separate every single thing out. And you can get a liner glove, you can get a Windpro glove, and then an over mitt over all of that. Obviously, if the weather's, you know, very, very cold, then, you know, you'll need, you know, an extra warm, thick glove. Before you go to sleep, make sure that you eat and drink something hot, or at the very minimum make sure that you eat something, and then your body has food and fuel to keep you warm at night. Because how you keep warm at night is not your hot water bottle, is a sleep system designed to keep you warm, clothing designed to keep you warm. Here I have a t-shirt, I have a shirt, I have a fleece, and I have a wind shirt. And then over the top of that is obviously my liner, or inside I've got a liner sleeping bag, and then a -5 sleeping bag here. And I don't think the temperature's even reached 0, although it feels quite cold, I have to say. When you get your sleeping bag, make sure that there's enough room inside it so that you can wear clothing, so that your clothing doesn't compress the sleeping bag, because that's important. Because if you compress the down of the sleeping bag, then you've just reduced the efficiency of your sleeping bag. So, you know, just be aware of that. When I had this sleeping bag custom made for me with Peter Hutchinson Designs a long time ago now, I went for a medium size. It was more expensive, but means I have room to maneuver in it. I can put things inside it, which will come to be another tip. Plus, if I wear something, if I'm a bit cool, then obviously it helps keep me warm. Now, if you do go for a bag that's a little bit bigger than necessary, which I did with this bag, this is a medium bag. Now, that's not going to be as efficient as a bag that's tight around you, so just, you've got to bear that in mind as well. So just be careful, you know, but getting a bag that's too loose, because then you'll lose some efficiency. But if it's too tight and then you put stuff in there, you'll lose efficiency. If you put clothes on, you'll lose efficiency. So you kind of got to strike a bit of a balance there. Don't forget to put inside the rucksack all of your electrical things in the winter. So all of your electrical things, earplugs, power packs, I mean, I bring a lot of power packs, you know, all your power packs should go under there. Your phones, cameras, you know, anything that has power, protect it inside the sleeping bag at night. And indeed, even by day, I've heard people say that if you've got power packs and things like that, to store it in inside pockets so that it doesn't get cold, you know, when you're walking in your pack. I've not yet really walked anywhere so cold that I've had to do that. But that's certainly worth, you know, noting. In the very, 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 very coldest of winters, keep your methylated spirits or biofuel liquids in the sleeping bag with you so they don't get cold. Similar to the hot water bottle though, just make sure it does not leak. I would maybe bring a separate bag just to put it in. This is my cheese bag, but maybe just bring a separate bag just to put that in, you know, for a little extra protection in case that leaked, because you don't want that liquid in there either. And of course, for those long dark nights, you know, make sure that you have some form of entertainment with you. I used to bring a tablet, I now bring my iPhone 13 Pro Max, and basically you know, I loaded up with, we're all probably subscribed to Netflix and Disney and, you know, Amazon Prime or whatever else there is out there. Some of you probably have Apple TV and things. You know, if you're subscribed to one or two of those, just go through their list of films that they have, and invariably they will have, you know, a few films that you will be marginally interested in, and that can be a good way of whiling away the hours of darkness before we fall asleep. So just be aware of that, and like I said, bring enough power packs and things like that to keep things charged up so that you can watch your said programs, because power is not as powerful as it were in the winter. And as long as you bring enough gloves, make sure you've got extra gloves. I put in at least an extra 1 or 2 pairs of hats, a warm hat, something in the middle, maybe one spare hat, and then obviously make sure you've got one hat for nighttime use that is dedicated to inside the tarp or tent, so that you do have something to keep your head warm when you get into camp, without question. Make sure you've got plenty of food. So don't skimp on food, because you're likely to be extra hungry when it's colder. And like I said, if you wake up in the middle of the night at say 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and you're feeling a bit cold, don't think, oh, let's get that hot water bottle on. I would suggest that you put the kettle on, have a hot cup of tea, and eat something. Even if you've maybe brought your porridge with you and you've got your porridge really for the morning, then maybe even have your porridge at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to get some extra warmth into your stomach, and have some nibbly biscuits or something like that, just to give your body energy. That's how you will warm up, is by having hot stuff inside you. If you found my tip video useful and helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again next time.